Okay, come to child's pose, knees together or apart. And just get a sense here of your physical body on your yoga mat. Like notice your feet, your shin bones, knees, arms, hands, fingers and thumbs, and your forehead. And take a nice deep breath in through both of your nostrils. And you have an option here to open your mouth and take a nice sweet exhale, empty it out. And again, just like that, breathe in fully. And exhale completely. One more time, inhale. Full exhale. As you're ready, come onto your hands and your knees and cycle through some cat-cow movements. So as you come onto your hands and your knees, tabletop position, use your inhales to lift your eye gaze and your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, push your hands down into the ground, round your upper back, draw your chin to your chest, and pull your lower belly up toward your spine. Begin to connect your movements to your breathing. So you'll start your inhales and your movement will follow. There's a little pause at the top of your inhale. And as you begin your exhale, you start to move again. Push your hands down, round your upper back. So you're moving from spinal extension to spinal flexion. Take 3 more movements like that. Feel free to add hip circles, shoulder circles. And for those of you, of course, practicing at home, no one's watching. Just make the movements organic. And as you connect to your breath, just notice how breath connection and breath awareness has this really beautiful capacity to pull you into the now. As you're ready on your next exhale, come to a neutral spine. Have a look at your hands and ensure that they're planted in a way where the center of each wrist aligns with the outside edge of each shoulder. And align the center of your wrist with the space between your peace fingers. Claw your mat lovingly with each one of your finger pads and your thumb pads. Tuck your toes under if they're not already, and come to downward facing dog. Draw your outer hips away from your fingertips. And with your hips higher than your shoulders in this upside down V position, add movements. You don't have to be static here for the first one. Bend one knee, reach your opposite heel to the floor. You might lift one leg up and stack one hip on top of the other. Simply move your body in an organic way. Yeah, you might pivot your heels side to side. And as you land here in your down dog, simply observe your physical body without any kind of need to interpret or to attach an explanation or a narrative to what you have encountered in your physical body, whether it's opening or pockets of tightness. And as you're ready, come to stillness, and you can glance at your hands and make sure that the inner edges of your hands are tacked down. Your index finger knuckles have a tendency to de-weight. So balance the weight evenly across the palms of your hands. And as you press your hands down, also press your hands energetically towards the top of your yoga mat. And as your hands press down and as they push forward, draw your hips up and back. And a slight bend in your knees will help take the rounding out of your lower back, let your hips elevate. The point here in your down dog is to have a natural spine, the natural curves of your spine are being maintained. And take one more deep breath in. Full complete breath out, let it go. And walk your hands to your feet. Come to the back of your yoga mat. Option to scoop your elbows up with your hands. An option even to rest your elbows against your upper thighs if you need a little more support. You can also interlace your fingers behind your lower back and reach your arms up and over. Shift your weight in your feet from your heels towards your toes and from your toes back to your heels. You shift back and forth a few times. You can also shift your weight, your body weight, side to side from your right foot to your left foot, and from your left foot to your right foot. And use these movements here to find your center. Notice your center where the weight is balanced evenly across the soles of your feet. You're tapping into the center of each heel and using your big toes and your pinky toes to balance. Let the weight of your head go. And it might feel nice to turn your head side to side a few times, and any tension that might be hiding in your neck and your shoulders, with your next exhale, let that go. Come to downward facing dog, walk back. Bring your feet to touch at the back of your mat. Lift your right leg up behind you, and right away bend your right knee and stack your right hip open on top of your left. Do your best to keep the weight rooted evenly in your hands. To keep your right shoulder wrapping down as you lift your left shoulder up slightly to keep your chest level. Lift both your right knee and your left heel higher. And what I want you to do now is to keep this height in your pelvis, and with a slight bend in your left knee, draw your left hip away from your left armpit. And with your left hip drawing back, also squeeze your outer left hip in towards your center line. Keep your right knee exactly where it is and release your left heel towards the floor. And you can access an opening into your left calf muscles. Look to the top of your mat and place your right foot beside your right thumb. Tent up onto your fingertips. And the alignment here is for you to stack your front knee directly over your front ankle. And you can look underneath your torso, find your back foot and slide your back foot back until your left heel stacks directly over your left toes. Be willing to drop your hips slightly, and you can begin to walk your fingertips forward, perhaps even past the top edge of your yoga mat. And push your front foot down, push all of your back toes down. And use the strength of your finger pads and the strength of your thumb pads here to create an anchoring into the floor. Set your eye gaze forward slightly. And take a few breaths. And keep pushing your back toes down to keep your left leg nice and active. Let your left thigh bone and the left side of your pelvis lift higher. Keep this power in your left leg and place your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Round your upper back, puff your lower back ribs and your mid-back upward towards the ceiling. And as you push your back toes and both of your hands down, pick your right foot up, let it hover. And then sweetly place your right foot to meet your left into high plank, top of your push-up. You can always use knees for support if you need that. Look forward slightly, take a deep breath in, take your chest and shoulders forward. Exhale, bend your elbows, slow push-up or come all the way down onto your belly. For your back, bend low cobra or up dog, open your chest. And ride your exhale all the way back to downward facing dog. And when you land, right away, without hesitation, float your left leg up behind you. Bend your left knee, stack your left hip open. So here you get a nice opening into the front of your left hip, and especially when you add a glute engagement here on your left side, but also to get a sense of how you're planting your physical body in space and how your physical body parts are related to each other, where they are in space. Lift your left knee and your right heel up higher. So maybe a little higher, maybe an inch higher. See how much space you have. And with a slight bend in your right knee, actively pull your right hip straight back and inward towards your midline. And keeping that and keeping your left knee exactly where it is, allow your right heel to lower towards the floor. It doesn't have to touch down, but just see if you can have access to more space. Spread your left toes wide. Look forward and place your left foot all the way through to the top of your mat. So same thing in your forward facing lunge position. It's helpful to have your feet hip distance apart side to side. Keep your left knee tracking directly over your left ankle. So if it's pulling forward of your ankle, draw your left knee back slightly. And slide your right toes back until your right heel points straight up towards the ceiling, or until your right ankle stacks directly over your right toes. Once you have that alignment, you walk your hands forward. You can tent up onto your fingertips if you haven't already, and push into the floor. So getting a sense here of your physical body in space. Charge your back leg strong. Squeeze your right upper thigh muscles. And let your right thigh bone and the right side of your pelvis lift higher. And with that connection, with that buoyancy here on the right side, vacuum your left hip back and in more. Keep your outer hips squeezing in towards your center, and place your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Vacuum your lower front ribs towards your back body, puff up your lower back ribs, and push down into the floor. Let your left foot hover, and then gracefully place your left foot to meet your right. High plank, top of your push-up. Breathe in. And with your exhale, lower halfway all the way down onto your belly. Back bend. Inhale, low cobra or up dog, yogi's choice. Exhale, downward facing dog, lift your hips. And take a deep breath in. Full, complete breath out. And on empty lungs, look forward and make your way to the top of your mat. You can walk, you can jump, you might hover into your handstand. Halfway lift, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. Twice more, just like that. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. One more time. Inhale. And an audible sigh as you bow over your legs. Let it go. Root to rise. Inhale, press your feet down, stretch your arms high, and bring your arms by your sides for Tadasana. Moving through sun salutation A. Inhale, float your arms up, reach up, maybe gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, and you can bend your knees as much as is necessary. Halfway lift. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, low push up or onto your belly, flow. Back bend, breathe in, open your chest. Downward facing dog, breathe out, lift your hips. Take a breath in. Full, complete breath out. Look to the top and flow there. Walk or jump, maybe hover in your handstand. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Stand up, inhale, push your feet down, reach your arms high. And exhale, forward fold, follow your breath. Halfway up, breathe in. Low push up, breathe out. Back bend, inhale, open your chest, broaden through your collarbones. Exhale, downward facing dog, lift your hips. Take a breath in. Complete breath out. And on empty lungs, flow to the top of your mat, walk or jump. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Stand up, inhale, press down, reach up. Forward fold, exhale, Uttanasana bow. Halfway up, inhale, lengthen. Low push up, exhale, plant your hands and flow. Back bend, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. And through the nose, inhale. Through the nose, exhale. Look forward, flow to the top, feet to hands, any way you know how. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Stand up, inhale, press your feet down, stretch your strong arms up. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway up, breathe in. Low push up, breathe out, flow. Back bend, inhale. Down dog, exhale. Through the nose, inhale. Full, complete exhale, and on empty lungs, come to the top of your mat. And if you can hover in your handstand, hold for as long as you can. Halfway up, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. Chair pose, bend your knees, sink your hips. Reach your arms forward and up. Your feet might be hip distance apart. You can also bring your feet to touch. If your feet are touching, have your inner knees squeezing into each other. Shift your physical body weight into your heels. And draw your hips back and down. You can take your lower front ribs and knit them towards your back body. And pull your lower front ribs towards your spine. And at the same time, let your shoulder blades melt away from your ears. You're not pulling them down, you're just allowing for softening across your upper back. And as you straighten your arms, spread your fingers wide, create space, be in your fullest expression. Take a breath in. Exhale, forward fold, bow over your legs. Halfway up, inhale. Low push up, exhale. Back bend, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Take your right foot forward and place it beside your right thumb. Set your feet hip distance apart, side to side. And again, same alignment, stack your front knee directly over your front ankle and have your back heel pointing straight up. So generate that. Push down, rise up, high lunge. And take a few moments here. If you feel wobbly, you can take your right foot a little more to your right. Root the very center of your right heel, and you can tap into the power of your right big toe and your right pinky toe to create more stability. Place your hands together at the center of your chest. And from your hips, hinge forward, pause. I want you to push your back toes down more and create power in your back leg. Notice what it feels like for your back leg to be engaged and carry that strength into your warrior three. Push off your back toes and here balance on your right foot. And a slight bend in your right knee will help, and that will give you access to dropping your outer left hip down more, and at the same time turn your inner left thigh upward towards the ceiling. Spread your left toes wide, get a sense of where your left leg is in space. And from your lower waist through to your armpits, through the center of your chest, through the very crown of your head, lengthen. Bring your hands onto your hips. Stand all the way up, hug your left knee into your chest, and cross your left ankle above your right thigh for standing pigeon pose. You're in charge of how far back and down you want to send your hips. Option to keep your elbows pressing into your left shin bone. If your knee feels all right, if your left knee's okay, maybe hands come to the floor. There's option to take an arm balance if that's part of your practice. Even just adding a rotation might feel nice. So listening to your body and honoring what your physical body can do and all of the things that it cannot do. And the most important part of your practice is for you to connect to every inhale and each and every exhale. As you're ready, rise all the way up. Set your left foot down, come to the top of your mat if you're not already there, and take your chair pose, Utkatasana. Bend your knees, sink your hips, arms up. And steady your eye gaze to one point, whether it's out in front of you, to the wall in front of you, maybe upward more towards the ceiling. And use the connection to your physical body, use the connection to your breath, and use your eye gaze, your vision as tools to access stillness in your mind. Take one more deep breath in, and with your exhale, forward fold, bow over your legs. Halfway up, inhale. Low push-up, exhale. Back bend, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. And take your left foot and place it to the top of your mat. And set yourself up with your feet hip distance, front leg to a square, and have your right heel pointing straight up. Push down into the ground, high lunge, rise. You can place a slight bend into your right knee. And keep that softness, and as you do that, turn your right inner upper thigh a little more towards the ceiling above you or towards the wall behind you. I want you to pull your right hip forward towards the top of your mat. Keep that, and at the same time, pull your left hip back and in towards your center line. Bring your palms together at the center of your chest. Hinge from your hips, lean forward, pause, and connect. So there is a connection, an energetic line from your right heel all the way through to the crown of your head. Charge your right leg, squeeze your right upper thigh muscles, and I want you to keep that power. Look forward, push off your back toes, and come into your warrior three variation. Your hands against the center of your chest serve as a reminder to keep your chest open. You can lift the backs of your shoulders and even your upper arm bones a little more towards the ceiling above you. With a slight bend in your standing leg, drop your outer right hip more than you think you need. And at the same time, turn your right inner upper thigh muscles upward towards the ceiling. You get a sense of your right foot, spread your right toes wide. Place your hands against your hips, stand up, draw your right knee into your chest. For standing pigeon pose, cross your right ankle above your left knee. The point here is for you to balance on one foot, and that requires more of your focus. You get a nice opening into your right glutes, but also an access to adding on. So the possibility here of layering up, the possibility of just staying as you are and being okay with whatever is. Make your breath smooth. Inhale, exhale through the nose, nice and steady. And come all the way up. Release your right foot down. Come to the top of your mat. Bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway up, breathe in. Low push-up, breathe out. Back bend, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Bring your feet together at the back of your mat and place your right foot in between your hands. Step all the way through. Spin your back heel down. Turn your back toes forward slightly and come into warrior two. Push your feet down, rise up, arms to shoulder height. And right away, set your eye gaze to one point. Keep the outside edges of your feet anchored. And as you do that, and as you charge your back, like as you squeeze your left upper thigh muscles, pull your right hip back and scoop your right sitting bone underneath you. Add a right glute engagement as well, and that will help keep your right knee tracking straight forward. And it will give you more opening into the inner right hip. Take extended side angle, shift your hips back slightly, reach your right arm forward, take your side bend. The most accessible variation is for your right forearm to cross over your right thigh bone. Option, take your left arm straight up, or take your left arm across your left ear for more side body opening. However you've chosen to place your right arm, press your right arm and your right leg into each other like you mean it. And continue to wrap your right hip underneath you and do your best with every exhale to turn your chest open towards the ceiling. Take a few more breaths, stay with it. Push your feet down actively, and with your next exhale, come back up, warrior two. With your next exhale, drop more weight into the center of your front heel, and notice how you automatically sit a little bit lower. Keep that depth. And anytime your mind wanders, anytime you get caught up in the stickiness of your thoughts, bring yourself back to what is real. Your feet on your yoga mat, arms to shoulder height, the sensation of air as it travels in and out of your nose. Take one more deep breath in. And with your exhale, three-legged downward facing dog. Mindfully plant your hands, float your right leg back and up, bend your right knee, stack your right hip open. And you can take some movements here with your right leg and your right hip. Go in one direction and then go in the other direction. Just any intensity or resistance or anything that kind of bubbled up to the surface, you can let it go here. And as you're ready, take your eye gaze forward and place your right foot all the way to the top. Bring your left knee onto your mat. Walk your right foot slightly to your right and turn your right foot 45 degrees towards the right side of your yoga mat and come to the outside edge of your right foot. Option is stay on your hands. Option to come to forearms. You want to be really mindful here. You want the opening to be experienced in your right glutes, no sensation in your right knee. And just like you did earlier in your other poses, work to draw your right hip back and in towards your center line. And with every inhale, lengthen from your lower waist through your side body. Take forearm plank. Step your right foot back. Anchor your forearms to the floor and stack your shoulders directly over your elbows. You can always use your knees down to the floor for support. If you have a little more fire in you, if you can maintain your shoulders over your elbows, and if you can maintain this integration of your lower front ribs drawing upward toward your spine, you can play with lifting one foot up at a time. Steady your eye gaze and keep your breath steady. That's the work. So the mind will get busy and you're tapping into the tools of the practice to still the turbulence of your thoughts. Take one more deep breath in. Stay for the exhale. And then into high plank, top of your push-up, one hand at a time, and into downward facing dog, hips up. Option is stay here. Option to flow and take a vinyasa. You can follow your own breath. Your inhale will carry you into a high plank, with your exhale into your low push-up. Your inhale will bring you into your up dog, and your exhale carries you all the way back to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, full complete breath out. Bring your feet to touch the back of your mat. Look forward and place your left foot in between your hands all the way through. Spin your back heel to your mat. Turn your back toes forward slightly to protect your back knee and rise up, warrior two. The tendency here is for your front knee to drift out of alignment. Your left knee starts to draw to the right side while your left hip starts to travel to your left. Push the outside edges of both of your feet down. And in particular, you want your front foot to be really anchored. You can even pull the base of your left big toe towards your inner left heel to create a lifting effect in your inner arch in your front foot. And squeeze your left glutes, fire them up and keep that muscular activation. Take extended side angle, shift your hips back slightly, reach your left arm forward, take your side bend. So there's lots of options. You can cross your left forearm over your left thigh. You might bring your left hand to the inside of your left foot with your left arm actively pressing against your inner left knee. You might take a half bind, full bind, lots of options. Just explore. The confidence to move your body and to trust it is the gift of yoga. Take one more deep breath in. And with your exhale, come up warrior two. And the sensations in your front leg and your left upper leg are just a reminder that you're here and that you're strengthening. How steady can you make your eyes, fix your eyes to one thing, right, to something in the room? And train your mind to be still. So it takes practice. Take one more full inhale. And with your exhale, plant your hands three-legged downward facing dog. Float your left leg back and up. Bend your left knee, stack your left hip open. And just like you did on the first side, create movements with your left leg and your left hip. Just move things around. Any resistance, any tension that you've released, set it free. Look forward and place your left foot all the way to the top. Bring your right knee down onto your mat. Take your left foot another inch or so to your left and turn it 45 degrees towards the left side of your yoga mat. Come to the outside edge of your left foot. And as your left thigh bone rotates outward in your left hip, creating that opening here, feel free to walk your hands forward. Maybe you come onto your forearms. Sometimes having a block or blocks underneath your forearms can be helpful. Actively draw your left hip back and hug your left hip towards your center line. Set up for forearm plank. You can take your left foot back first and then bring your forearms down if you wish and go right in. I find it helpful to bring your feet and your legs together so that you can hug everything into your center and play with these actions and really press your forearms down, press your elbows straight down, and do that also with all of your toes. Now press your elbows down and scrub them towards the top of your mat. And at the same time, press your toe pads down and push them towards the back edge of your yoga mat. So your feet and your elbows are moving in opposite directions. Keep your lower front ribs integrated, vacuum them up towards your back body. And how smooth can you make your breath? Like how steady can you make your eyes? And take high plank, downward facing dog. And take your vinyasa flow. So vinyasa just really means to place your physical body skillfully and to connect your movements to the sweetness of your breath. So it doesn't always have to be a high to low push-up. It might be pressing in a handstand. It might be bringing your knees down and your forehead down into a child's pose. Once you feel complete, come to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Complete breath out, let it go. And come to high plank, top of your push-up. And as slowly as you can, lower all the way down onto your belly. You can use your knees for support if that helps. When you land, point your toes back. Reach your arms back behind you. Just let your forehead come to the floor. Send your attention into your feet and press each one of your toenails down equally. The tendency here is for all the weight to come to the inner edges of your feet, so tack your pinky toenails down also. If they don't touch the ground, is that there's an energetic grounding through the tops of your feet that's even. At the same time, hug your outer ankles in slightly, as if you were hugging a block between your inner ankles. Charge your legs so much that your shins and your thigh bones lift. Keep that power. Press your hips down, lift your shoulders away from the floor, lift your head, lift your hands, arms up, and as you're ready, lift your feet up, lift your legs up. Let the backs of your shoulders and the backs of your upper arms lift higher towards the ceiling. Take one more deep breath in, and exhale, come all the way down. Option to repeat that, option to interlace your fingers behind your lower back. You could even use a towel or a strap between your hands. And repeat that, press your hips down, lift your forehead, lift your shoulders, lift your chest, lift your feet, lift your legs, rise up. So here, turn your inner upper thighs up towards the ceiling. Again, working your legs towards neutral. And as your inner upper thighs turn upward, at the same time, create space in your lower back by letting your sitting bones, by anchoring your sitting bones towards your heels. Take one more deep breath in, and exhale, let that go. Come all the way down. Option to repeat or bend your legs. And keep your inner knees hugging in towards each other. Reach with your hands for your feet, ankles, or shins. Press your hips down and rise up into a floor bow. Press your feet, your ankles into your hands to open your chest. And you have two options. Option one, to keep your thigh bones anchored and grounded and just use the pressing of your ankles and your hands into each other to lift your chest, to open your chest up. You can also lift your thigh bones up, lift your chest up, lift everything up, maybe even your eye gaze. Breathe in, and with your exhale, let that go. Roll onto your back. And prepare for bridge pose or wheel. I'll speak to bridge pose first. Option to use a block if you need extra support. Otherwise, anchor your feet outer hip distance apart, and you might just take a quick little look at your feet and make sure that they're pointing straight back. And draw your heels in just enough so that your ankle bones are either slightly forward of your knees or directly underneath them. Glue your eye gaze to one point against the ceiling and commit to keeping your head still to protect your neck. Press your feet down, press your upper back down, lift your low back, lift your mid back, lift your upper back up. Your arms, you can straighten them. You could hold on to the long edges of your yoga mat or walk your arms underneath you and interlace your fingers. And press the back of your head down slightly to maintain the natural curve of your neck so that there is space underneath your cervical spine. And as you press your heels down, turn your inner upper thighs towards the floor here. And at the same time, press your sitting bones towards the backs of your knees. Take one more deep breath in, and with your exhale, come all the way down. Release your hands, arms lower, and when you land, be still. Option to repeat, option to come into your full wheel pose. So if you're coming into a bridge, press your feet down, lift your hips, low back, mid back, upper back. You can actually start there even for your bridge pose. Place your hands in line with your ears and have your hands at least shoulder distance apart, if not a little wider apart, and come to the top of your head first. Once you're on the top of your head, turn your hands out slightly, hug your elbows in, pull your elbows towards your feet and push into the floor to lift up. And press your hands and your feet down, lift your chest up and take your chest towards the top of your yoga mat. Take a breath in, and with your exhale, come all the way down. Pause. One inhale, full exhale, and go back up, bridge or wheel. You go, press your feet down, lift your hips, low back, mid back, upper back. Set your hands for wheel, push down and open up. So your back bends are a beautiful way to strengthen your back body while giving you access to space in your front body, upper thighs, your hip flexors, abdominals, your chest. Take a breath in, and with your exhale, come all the way down. Inhale, exhale, and come back up, bridge your wheel. So the practice of your back bends require repetitions. You'll create the space, and as you notice, as you move through multiple back bends, even though your physical body will start to fatigue, the access into the opening is there. Take one more deep breath in, And lower with your exhale. Landed, be still. Inhale fully. Exhale completely. And rise right back up. Come on up. So this will be your fourth wheel or your fifth bridge. Rise up. So repetition, as one of my teachers says, repetition is the mother of mastery. Take an inhale. And with your exhale, lower. Take a pause, observe. And right away, without hesitation, come back up. Lift your hips, low back, mid back, upper back, rise up, press down into your wheel, come up. Use the connection of your feet. Use the connection here to open your chest, open your front body. Take a breath in and come all the way down. Inhale, exhale, and right back up. Last one, press down, lift up, open up. Bridge, wheel, you go. Hold and breathe. Hold and breathe for 5. Hold and breathe for 4. Hold for 3. Keep pushing into the floor for 2. Stay for the last one and lower all the way down. And when you land, keep your legs bent. Walk your feet mat distance apart. Bring your inner knees to touch. And if your wrists are speaking to you, you can slide your hands underneath your pelvis and use the weight of your hips to squeeze tension out of your wrists. Lengthen your exhales to slow everything back down. You might notice that your breath rate and your heart rate are elevated. And the beautiful thing with your yoga practice is that you'll start to notice how you can influence the energy in your physical body with your breathing. If your hands are still underneath your hips, slide them out and take your arms to shoulder height along the floor, maybe with cactus arms, and begin to windshield viper your legs side to side. Come to center. Take happy baby pose. Your hands might be to the backs of your upper legs, hands to the backs of your knees. Maybe you hold onto your shins, your ankles, or perhaps your hands and the outer edges of your feet will meet. And you're using your happy baby pose as a way to neutralize your lower back. And then take your legs straight up towards the ceiling. And press your heels upward and draw your toes down towards your belly. And take your hands behind your head. Let your elbows be wide. And you can pick your head and your upper back up off the floor and let the weight of your skull drop back into the palms of your hands. Take your right leg forward and down to hover. And bring your right leg back up. And take your left leg forward and down to hover. And just simply move like that. You're going side to side for 10. For 9. Keep your chest lifted, head heavy. 8, 7, 6. Draw your lower belly towards the floor for 5. Lift your chest a little higher. 4. Use your breath for 3. For 2. Last one. And come all the way up. Release your head down and draw your knees into your chest. Rock side to side. And stack your knees directly over your hips. Create a square with your legs and once again interlace your fingers behind your head. Let your head be heavy. And I want you to keep your inner knees squeezing together. If you have a block at home, you might take a block between your inner knees. Keep your legs completely still. Lift your head and your shoulder blades up. Take an inhale. With your exhale, take your right elbow to your left knee. It doesn't have to touch, but the rotation's there. Inhale to center. Exhale, take your left elbow to your right knee and keep moving like that. So you're tapping. When your legs stay still, when your knees stack directly over your hips, when they don't move, it gives you like a sense of the strength that you have and the rotation you have here in your torso. So you can't cheat. Keep going side to side for 10. Use the power of your breath to stay connected for 9. For 8, 7, 6, 5. Keep squeezing your legs together. 4. You can even spread your toes nice and wide for 3. For 2. And one more you go, and then come to center, release, draw your knees in. You rock side to side a few times. You can rock up and down your spine and make your way into downward facing dog. So facing the top of your mat, flip yourself around, and the vinyasa is yours to take. Take it or leave it. Once you land back in your downward facing dog, take a deep breath in. Full, complete breath out, let it go. And do that one more time. Inhale fully. And exhale completely. Make your way into single leg pigeon. You'll take your right shin to your right wrist, and your right foot can be to your left hip. You might actually, I find to protect my right knee, I actually like to have my right hip anchored down so my hip and my knee are level. Your back leg, your left leg can be bent. You can come and take this shape more in a more of a yin style expression. Even your left foot can point to the right, like deer pose. And then set yourself up, climb in. Anytime your mind wanders and you get caught up in your head and your thoughts, bring yourself back to what is real, like your physical body here on your mat. The sensation of air as it flows in and out of your nose. And even your eyes can be open, fixed to one point, to one thing. And switch sides, come through down dog. The vinyasa is there for you, take it or leave it. When you're ready, bring your left leg into your pigeon pose. Bring your hands onto your mat. Shift all of your weight into your left hip and sweep your right leg out in front of you. And give your legs a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a wiggle. Keep your right leg straight forward and bring your left foot against the inside of your right thigh. Keep your right knee and your right toes pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Reach your arms up. Take a breath in to lengthen. Exhale, hinge from your hips, fold forward. Your hands might stay to the floor. Maybe your hands come to your right thigh, your shin, or perhaps to your foot. And just a reminder that it's never about the depth of the physical posture. But if you have opening just naturally, or you have a dance background or a gymnastics background, the physical postures become accessible. But what you're after in your practice is a stilling of the mind stuff, to quell the turbulence of your thoughts. Inhale, lengthen. Rise up with your exhale and switch sides. Take your left leg forward. Place your right foot against the inside of your left leg. Keep your left knee and your left toe straight up. Reach your arms up. Take a breath in. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lengthen. Sit tall with your exhale. Take your right leg forward. And use your hands here and turn your inner upper thighs down towards the floor, or you might pull the fleshy parts of your glutes back and apart. You can bend your knees any amount. Reach your arms up, breathe in. And forward fold. Hinge from your hips as you bow over your legs. If you have your knees bent, you might bring your lower belly and your upper thighs to connect, and then you'll use the next few breath cycles to perhaps press your heels away from you any amount. If you're folded deeply, you have an option just to let your head drop, and you can kind of round into it a little bit. With your next inhale, lengthen. Sit tall with your exhale and set up for reverse tabletop or Purvottanasana. For reverse tabletop, plant your feet flat, hip distance apart, bring your hands behind you about 12 inches, fingertips point towards your heels, and as you're ready, push down, lift your hips up, lift your chest. If it feels okay for your neck to drop your head back, you can add that, but it's not required. Big push into the floor. This is a counterbalance here to your forward folds. Hold and breathe for 3. Stay for 2. Push down a little more, stay for the last 1. And as you're ready, lower all the way down. And when you land, keep your feet planted and just bring your feet together, lie all the way down. With your legs bent, feet together, legs together, and you can take your arms again to shoulder height along the floor. Move your hips a couple of inches to your left and drop your legs over to your right for a spinal twist. So any twist that feels good in your body here, and you're allowing for both of your shoulders to stay anchored to the floor. Your left shoulder might lift up a little bit, and I don't want you to force it down. Just there's an allowing, a letting go. Just let that come naturally. And come back to center. Both of your feet to the floor, shift your hips a few inches to your right, and drop your legs over to your left for your spinal twist. With an inhale, come back to center. Place your feet flat. If you have a block or something that you can slide underneath your sacrum, you can do that. If you don't have any height, it's okay. Take your legs straight up towards the ceiling. If you have a different inversion that you practice that you want to take here, you can. Let the weight, for those of you with your legs up towards the ceiling, let the weight of your legs pour down. You might let your arms float up as well, and let the weight of your arm bones just plug your shoulders into your yoga mat. The invitation is for you to close your eyes, let your eyes relax. You can part your upper lower teeth, place a blanket of air between them, let your jaw soften. It's also nice if you are close to a wall to take your legs up the wall. And as you're ready, make your way into your final resting shape, Shavasana. So the physical practice is to bring you into the stillness here, your willingness to be still, and to let things be as they are. Any movements here, especially if you're lying on your back, it might feel really nice to walk your shoulder blades down your back slightly. If you have lots of room, like take up real estate on your mat. If lying on your back doesn't work for you, you can lie on your belly, you could lie on your side. And even a seated meditation is perfectly acceptable. Take one more deep breath in. Full, complete breath out, let it go. Take a deep breath in. Full, complete breath out, let it go. Wiggle your fingers, your toes. Place your feet onto your mat. With bent legs, come onto your right side. Use your hands to press yourself up into a seated position. Sit comfortably, sit tall. Let your eyes close. As you press your seat into the earth, into the floor beneath you, lengthen up through the crown of your head. Gently move your shoulders away from your chest. Let your heart be open, receptive. And place your hands together at the center of your chest. And in deep gratitude for all that your physical body just allowed you to experience, in deep gratitude, soften your mind into the bright light of your own heart. Bow in. Just let this be a reminder that when your mind gets still, when you're no longer distracted by the turbulence of your thoughts, you can see your own light, your own true essence, one of equanimity and peace. And thank you for practicing. Namaste.